For the second postseason in a row, the Phoenix Suns went out sad in the second round. They were down 30 at the half by the Denver Nuggets, they were severely outplayed, and the Phoenix Suns fell way short of expectations for this season. In the grand scheme of things, people might excuse the Suns' loss due to injuries to both Chris Paul and Deandre Ayton, but the truth is, both of them are part of the huge problem with the Suns prior to the series and onward. With the Suns already firing Monty Williams a few days prior, and with the team's future being much worse than people want to admit, I think it's fitting to discuss why the Suns were destined to fail in 2023 and why they're in a very difficult situation right now. But before we begin, be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and also be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. I, as well as many others, were very high on the Phoenix Suns heading into this postseason for multiple reasons, despite the lack of depth on the team. The team traded for all-time great Kevin Durant at the NBA trade deadline to pair with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and they didn't have to give Deandre Ayton in that deal. Kevin Durant is obviously one of the greatest scorers the league has ever seen, and averaged 30 points per game on 56% shooting and 38% from 3 prior to the trade. He was also having a legendary season from mid-range, shooting 56% on those attempts, and his overall efficiency would actually improve in his 8 games in Phoenix towards the end of the regular season. Beside KD would obviously be Devin Booker, one of the best scorers in today's game, and yet again, another one of the best mid-range shooters. Matter of fact, with KD, Booker, and Chris Paul, the Suns would have 3 of the best mid-range shooters in the game, a notable source of inside presence with Deandre Ayton, a player they didn't have to give up, again in the Kevin Durant trade. However, the Suns proved to be much better on paper than they actually were in the playoffs. In the first round, the Suns met up with what would be an injury-plagued Clippers team. A team that wouldn't have Paul George for the entirety of the series and would have Kawhi Leonard sidelined after Game 2. Despite this, the short-handed Clippers were essentially in every game, and the over-reliance on insane performances from both Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just to get wins was definitely on display, and such performances were no way sustainable for an entire playoff run. Booker would average 37 points, 6 assists, and 5 boards on 60% from the field and 47% from 3 in the series, and KD would average 28 points, 6 assists, and 8 boards on 52% from the field, 46% from 3, and 96% from the free throw line. But the Suns won in a tougher than expected 5 games and would really be put to test against the number 1 seed in the conference, the Denver Nuggets. A series where they trailed 2-0, and with Chris Paul being out indefinitely due to an injury he sustained in Game 2. To their credit, the Suns were able to tie the series at 2 apiece, but it took legendary performances from both Booker and KD to just get narrow wins in both games, with them combining for 86 points and 72 points in games 3 through 4 respectively. Devin Booker at that point averaged 37, 7, and 5 on 62% from the field and 51% from 3 through 9 playoff games, and was doing things we literally hadn't seen in 35 years, and KD up to that point would average 39 and 5 on 49% from the field. But as great as these performances were, again, the Suns proved that they needed both of them to go berserk just to have a chance of winning a single game and winning this series. And unfortunately for them, this clearly wasn't a winning recipe. Booker averaged just 20 points on 38% from the field in the last 2 games of the series, and KD struggled mightily as well, averaging 25 points on 42% from the field and failing to hit a single 3 in those last 2 games. Being that top heavy killed them in this series, given that their chances at winning solely fell at the feet of both Booker and KD. They did have heavy isolation offense, an unimaginative offense, and it clearly didn't help that the Suns couldn't hit a three to save their lives. Durant shot 22% from 3 in this series, Terrence Ross shot 27%, Chris Paul shot 20%, TJ Warren shot 14%, Josh Okogie shot 0%, Torrey Craig shot 14%, and Damian Lee shot 11%. Suns obviously could have gotten even more help from Chris Paul and Deandre Ayton, but these are two players that shouldn't have been counted on to change life for the Phoenix Suns. CP3 clearly vanished in the Mavs series last season, averaging just 9 points and 6 assists in games 4 through 7 of that series, and since then, he hasn't been anything close to the player that he was in 2021 when the Suns made the NBA Finals. In the regular season, he had a career low points per game at 14. He took a grand total of 26 shots in the restricted area, a grand total of 32 shots within 5 feet of the rim, and finished at just 38%, and featured in just 59 games. At age 38, while still a fine player, Chris Paul was inevitably going to decline. And given his lack of ability to attack the rim as in years past, and given that availability continues to be a huge concern for him, it's far from ideal that he's the starting point guard of a potential title team. He made $28.4 million this season, but fortunately for the Suns, Paul's deal is only partially guaranteed for next season, with him being guaranteed only $15.8 million. Thus, the Suns will more than likely cut him before his deal is guaranteed on June 28th, and they'll have to find creative ways to retool this roster. Next up, we definitely need to talk about DeAndre Ayton and how disappointing he can be for this team. He had easily the worst playoff series of his playoff career against the Nuggets, averaging just 11 points and 8 boards while shooting 58% from the field and 40% from the free throw line. He was a -21 in their Game 5 loss. The Suns were outscored by 59 points when Ayton was on the lineup. The Suns were actually more positive when Landale was in the lineup, and Jokic shot 59% when guarded by him. It's definitely not good when your former #1 overall pick is being compared to a backup that makes 1/20th of his salary, and it's definitely not okay that Ayton has gone missing at times when the Suns needed him most. This is a player that has shown that he can be a big-time performer, as his 2021 playoff run proved instrumental in getting the Suns to the finals, and even in 2022 when Booker was out in the Pelican series, Ayton averaged 21 points and 10 rebounds on 70% shooting for that series. However, with him not living up to those expectations, and with him being a high earner, it's logical to believe that the Suns could shop him given the lack of limited means they have to upgrade this roster. The only problem is that Ayton's stock is far from its highest, and you'd have to receive a nice flexible contract or contracts back in that deal. At the end of the day, even though this team was transformed mid-season, I still would say this was a disappointing season given the weaker pool of contenders in both conferences. Don't get me wrong, the Nuggets are a really good team, and other teams in this field are great in their own right. However, the flaws in each of these teams made this a wide open playoff race. The Suns will in fact be back next season, and under a full training camp and a new coach, the team could potentially meet its full potential. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the team looked completely different next season, given the matters discussed in this video. And in any case, the Suns need to look long and hard to build the best contender, while KD is still under contract. With that being said, be sure to comment down below what you felt went wrong for the Phoenix Suns in this postseason. And let me know down below what you would do as the Suns GM this summer to build their best contender around Booker and KD. Let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and also be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. Hope to see you all in the next one, and stay tuned.